Hello and welcome to Leadership Wednesday. Today I have another very interesting guest, my friend Florian Hommeyer. Good morning, Florian.
Good morning, Christian. How are you?
Not too bad, actually. I'm very excited to have you in my show today.
Thanks for the
And
invite.
you know that the subject, what you're offering to the community, is actually getting hotter and hotter every day. So, Florian, what are you doing now for a living?
Well, what I'm doing for a living, I'm a B2B storytelling expert. That means actually that I'm building brand and product stories for B2B companies because people don't buy the best or the cheapest product in the market. They buy the product they understand the easiest. And especially in these special times that we have right now, emotional communication, or let's just name it emotional communication, is a key asset in everyday's business world for every company actually. And it's beginning from small companies, small and medium enterprises, up to the huge companies, global players, whatever. Exactly.
So I understand. I mean, that is not the typical thing what you're learning in university or in an apprenticeship. And
Yeah.
I understand that you have been employed by a big company before. So
Yeah.
maybe you can tell our audience about, the self-leadership, how you transformed from just doing the 9 to 5 to becoming a full-fledged entrepreneur.
Well, yes, of course I can. I can explain. Um, you mentioned it right. You know, my path of career was quite unusual. Starting in the 2000s in Berlin as a barkeeper, and now being an entrepreneur in a global market. Or the thing is that even if you are working for a global acting company, which I was as a key account manager, um, the question is always, what are you willing to do, and what do you want to do, and what you have to do actually. And for me, these 3 points, or these three key facts, were not matching anymore. So I sat down and I made a pro and con list at that moment, and decided that even if you got paid a lot of money, um, you are still not your own boss or your own leader in this idea. So I decided the single way to reach that goal, or to aim for my personal goal, which I had, was to start my own business, to be my own leader, and to be actually responsible. That was one thing I was missing the most: responsibility, um, from being a leader and from other leaders in my surroundings. Yeah.
That sounds very interesting. I mean, and how did you discover or come to the understanding that there is money in teaching other people about stories?
Well, I experienced the need for stories actually in the medical device business. I was working there for over, oh well, a couple of years. I don't know the actual amount of years. And I realized that you only have, or if you have only numbers and facts, the emotions are running behind, and that's always happening. And in our analytical business speech that we are used to use nowadays in the business communications, or in the business conversation that we have worldwide, the the funny thing is, if, let's assume you go to a conference, yes, and you have a very technical, specific, detailed conference, and you learn a lot about some things, whatever. And the conversations are always analytical. There's not so much personal, private, whatsoever content in the conversations. But as soon as you close the conference, and you go over to the hotel and you meet at the hotel bar, conversations are, let's say, turned by 180 degrees. Now the personality and the private and the emotional content is much more important than any business related stuff. And suddenly the real important people, yes, let's assume the leaders, the salespeople, the relationship building people, the customer relation managers, etc. They suddenly start to make business, but on a whole different level. Emotions, personality, stories. They tell stories. Hey, you know what was happening to this and this guy, and then he bought my product, and now he's pretty fine, you know? So the thing is that in our business, we realized that we don't have so much marketing capacities. Let's put it that way. And on the flight, I guess it was to Singapore or the Philippines, I read an article in the New York Times. I guess it was the New York Times or no, it was New York Times, about storytelling and about the success of storytelling and the possibilities of storytelling. And then I combined that with my personal need for loyalty and bonding with companies, etc. Because I was always the guy known in the global market for keeping up good relationships, and I was always loyal to customers and also to my own brand or to my own company, which I was working for. And I realized that there are a lot of people out there having or living actually the same loyalty, the same level of respect, or the same level of they put a lot of their lives into their job, and they spend a lot of time and efforts, and you know, in Germany we say they put a lot of their hearts into their companies. um, and finally, these companies, they don't value these loyalties or these bonds from the employees to the company, to the brand, by releasing employers because of the lack of marketing budget. Yes, and I've seen that from a lot of other medical companies. They have an ad spend, like, let's say 500K per year or whatsoever, and as soon as this marketing budget is reached, they have two ways of going. The first one is releasing employees because they make new cap space, or they reduce the marketing activities. And both directions are not really optimal for the brands. So I realized that, and I understood that there is a sort of difference, or the combination of these two is not so matching. Let's put it that way. So I tried to figure out a way how to save marketing budget, marketing capital, and also keep the good employees. And for us in my business, the case was to combine good employees, which of course they cost a lot of money. No, that's not a matter of discussion. Yeah, but if you keep the good employees and they gain a lot of revenue, and you teach them, or you give them a brilliant story to tell to the customers, suddenly they make an impact, and they get the customers bond to your brand. And as soon as the customer gets a personality in the background, they're more willing to pay higher prices for your product whatsoever. And suddenly all of the efforts in marketing and training for the people makes sense. And all by a sudden, you can keep good employees and you can reduce your marketing budget with a very little investment in somebody who builds your story. And as I'm always a very social guy, and I'm also, as I mentioned, always a relationship guy. I like to keep good employees, and I like to keep the good employees in the company, because you know it perfectly as well, Christian. When you are known worldwide for your brand, for a special behavior, yes, let's say, in my case, I realized all the birthdays of my customers, and I called them. It's such a small thing, yes, but I was known globally for the fact that I call every customer to the birthday of him or her, to the birthday of the relationship partner, and it probably of the kids, yes. So I called them 4 times a year and said, well, happy birthday to whoever, and how's everything going, to keep a personal relationship alive.
Mm.
And if you are known for your brand to making something special, the value of the brand is absolutely scaling up. And this is a fact that a lot of leaders not real well, they have not realized it yet. And I think this is something which has to come. And this is my why I'm doing storytelling, because I want to um, I want to make it possible for the brands to keep the good employers, save marketing budget, and be the personal brand, be known for something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know that maybe some company owners are a bit suspicious about storytelling.
Oh yeah,
because it's not tangible. It's not a
yeah.
number in an Excel sheet. Can you give maybe from your experience one example how a story hit the market and you made a deal which would be probably otherwise not be possible?
Oh yes, there are a couple of. Um, I always go back to the medical device business, because this is not known as a personality or emotional business. But on the other hand, there's a huge digital company acting worldwide as a payment provider. I wouldn't say the name right now, but they just implemented a small story and the picture of the CEO. And that was the only thing they built up from the story and personality aspect. And all they did, as I mentioned, was bringing a picture and the why or the story of the CEO on the company's landing page. So they scaled up the revenues by 200%.
Wow.
Only because of that. And this is something, so small, making such a huge impact. And this company, they don't have a sales team. They don't have a lot of guys traveling around. This is only a digital online based company. These guys are sitting somewhere with a laptop on their knees and working like that. They don't even have an office. Yes. But making something such unpersonal, personal.
That's amazing, to hear something like that. And
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, you see on LinkedIn, you see a lot of people offering storytelling. And I wonder if you could share with my audience about some of your learnings and some of the results you had already,
Yeah.
not only for your company, but also what differentiates a good storyteller from a bad one.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, let me put it that way. A good storyteller would take your business serious and would act individually. Let's assume you have a storytelling workshop like I do. I do regularly storytelling workshops, and I limit the number of participants to 5, because this is the maximum number where I can guarantee the success of the story. And now you have other storytellers offering workshops for 150, 250 people. Just ask yourself the question: would it be possible within, let's say, 2 hours, 3 hours, to build something individual with 250 other participants. In my opinion, that's definitely not possible.
Yes.
Yes, but these workshops, they cost a lot of money.
Mm.
I think building a personality and showing off personality. I'll take me as an example. When I started with LinkedIn last year, well, I'm at LinkedIn since 2012 now, so it's already 8 years. But using LinkedIn actively, or actively, regularly, whatever you want to call it, there was nobody telling stories or talking about storytelling. Yes, of course, we had a lot of storytellers using a profile on LinkedIn, but nobody was really telling a story, and nevertheless, talking about how to tell a story. So I realized that there is a huge niche, and so I took this niche for me. And you remember the beginning of the LinkedIn coffee break,
Yes.
because you were actually part of the founding team. Let's put it like that. The idea was to spread the word of knowledge and spread informations into the LinkedIn community, to give them knowledge for free. And since now I uploaded over 100 videos about storytelling, and it is all about how to tell a story and why storytelling is important, and where you can use storytelling. Because as you mentioned, the knowledge about storytelling is not so big yet, especially because, as you mentioned, the KPIs are not that hard to measure. Of course, you can measure 20, 50, 75% growth because of the story. But the least amount of CEOs or responsible persons would relate that to the story they put online, or they put wherever they want to go. The good thing about storytelling on, let's assume, LinkedIn, or for every brand right now, is the fact that even on digital channels, that's, let it be the website, let it be the social media, wheresoever, you can use it, and it's gaining a lot of trust, and it's producing a lot of impact to your personal brand, not only personal, but also the company's brand. I would assume every brand to tell story, because, hey, come on, it's free marketing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I mean, you are now an entrepreneur for approximately a little bit more than a year.
Yeah.
I guess in the beginning, it's obviously always a bumpy road.
Yeah.
Would you have some recommendation? I mean, what worked and what did not work out for you?
Well, actually, we are celebrating my first anniversary today, because today,
Wow.
1 year ago, I started my own business. So,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Um, my biggest learning from that is, you have to do it all in or nothing. That's the first credo of myself, and the second one is create value. Because if you start building a brand, you have to have an idea, and you have to have a goal. And in the beginning, I have to be honest, I had a goal and I had an idea where this thing is going, and I wrote a business plan. And since now, I changed the business plan, I think 3 times, 4 times. I changed the ideas. I changed everything from my services to what I want to do, to what my goals are. And I strongly believe that building a plan and not sticking to the plan is the perfect way to do it. No, I truly think just having an idea is not enough to build a business.
Mm.
It is a good starting plan, but if you haven't started after, let's say, 3-4 weeks after having the idea, it's a nice idea, but this is not your biggest dream or your biggest aim you're going to, or you're aiming for. You know, my first company I started was a networking company for medical device businesses, and I talked to so many people, and there were so many people in the market um, doing what I planned to do already, and they already had 25,000 connections, and they were very good connected all over the world. And I said, okay, well, probably I'm too young for that. Probably I'm not experienced enough for that. So you have to be the first one, the best, or simply different in the market. So in this case, I had to compete with a lot of experienced people and making myself a name and building a brand, etc. Of course, that would have been possible, but I thought, what do I like to do? And this is always the question. Being a leader, being an entrepreneur, is not about having an idea and go for the idea, but also to bond with the idea. It needs to be you. And if you start an idea and the idea is not you, then you're turning the same wheel like being an unsatisfied employee. There is no difference, because if you have to do something, it's always a pain. But if you want to do something, your motivation is, or the starting point of where you start is something totally different.
Yeah,
And
you feel it, when you're sitting
yeah,
in front of someone, if
yeah,
there's some fire within,
yeah,
or is it just a paid job to do?
yeah, exactly. And I see that in so many young entrepreneurs. Some of them, they are absolutely motivated to do that. Well, I'm still a young entrepreneur, I would guess. But well, there are younger entrepreneurs than me, and I think a lot of them, they just jump the shark, and or they jump on a on something which is a hype at the moment. That's all these online marketing. You know what I'm talking about? Facebook ads, etc., or LinkedIn ads. They they try to go somewhere where they have no clue about, but because it's modern at the time being, they try to jump on the same train and go with the stream. But it is, as always, if you don't burn by 100% for your idea, don't do it, because it's a waste of time, waste of money. And you know that for sure as well. Building a brand or building a company cost a lot of time, money, and efforts.
Mm. Yeah, and I think what is very impressive is what you said before, is that you had to adjust your plan. And
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I guess because of the Corona crisis, you had several changes in your plans. And
Yeah.
I guess the plans what you had probably half a year ago are now a bit different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. um I remember a Monday, like I think it was 5-6 weeks ago, which killed nearly the numbers of 3 months. It was one single Monday. And when you start a brand and you start a business, you are happy when it starts rolling or when it starts running. And I certainly reached that point, and I was so happy that suddenly or some slowly it beginning to roll the whole business. And then Corona came, and we had a lot of fun. No, it was a horrible Monday, and for me it was really like, okay, everything what you did is now useless, because you cannot travel anymore, you cannot meet people anymore, and well, all your revenues are killed by a few phone calls. Um, so what I expected, or what I accepted very early in my self-leadership, entrepreneur, business life, is that change always means opportunity.
Wow.
And well, I was totally aware of the fact that I could cry now, and I could break down and stop everything and go back to an employee relationship to somebody, or work for a company. And but I accepted the change, and I accepted that um, somebody hits me, or something hits me, which I wasn't aware of. Even by having a very good business plan, having a very straight idea where I want to go, change comes unexpected.
Mm.
Always. And I focused myself, and being a certified trainer, it's sort of ability what we learn, or what you learn while being a certified trainer for something, to build training concepts. And so I took the whole training concept, which I wrote already for the storytelling workshops, the real life storytelling workshops, um, and I rewrote this whole concept. That was the only chance I had, or I remember that day being like, okay, I need to do something.
Mm.
But I in that moment, coming out of the shock by having your whole business or your whole revenue killed in one day, you are shocked for sure. And then I sat down, and I said, okay, I need to do something. So I took the whole concept, and I said, what if, and this is most of the time the best starting point, what if, because I cannot meet people anymore, I meet them online. So I took this concept, and I build it or rebuild it from scratch. And I said, okay, let's do every step that you do right now in presence. Let's do it online. So I sat down for, let's say, I guess it was 3 days, something like that. And I wrote every minute, every single phrase of the workshop. I wrote it down and checked that if it's possible to do online. And of course, at a certain point, I had to delete a couple of phrases, a couple of parts of the workshop, which is not
Mm.
doable online. Let's say, hand over a card. Yeah, I can do it like that, but there is simply no way of doing it. So I had to delete a couple of online, or a couple of offline things, which I'm used to do in my workshops. And replaced it with some interactional parts in a Zoom meeting, or and I rebuilt the whole concept, and I tested it for the past 4 weeks. And that was a huge change, because I was always the kind of guy telling, or saying to the people, I don't want to do online workshops, I don't want to do online courses, I don't want to do all these online I make you a billionaire overnight things. I'm still not doing that, by the way. But being forced to do something opens up new possibilities, and you have to grab it, and you have to work with that. And I think you have to take the time for it.
Mm.
uh, I was uploading daily videos here on LinkedIn about storytelling, and at that time where I changed all of the processes to online, um, I wasn't able to upload a lot of videos, a lot of posts to LinkedIn, which was somehow a mistake, but somehow it was good, because I was doing something else, and it consumed a lot of time. But the results, or the result, the storytelling workshop is the result of Corona, and it's pretty awesome, because the people um, which are attending the workshop, they take the information, and they get it online, they transform it, and they publish it online.
Mm.
So the channel is the same, but I'm absolutely on your side. If you're forced to change something in this Corona crisis, sit down and see what you can do. Of course, you have all of the rights of the world to be shocked because of the change. But change is always opportunity. See the
Mm.
opportunity, and if you don't see it yet, talk to some other people and get ideas, get feedback, try to see the opportunity. Of course, somebody who's a barber, cutting hair or something, this is not doable online, of course. But a friend of mine, she is a barber, and what is she doing right now? Offering online courses how to cut your hair at home.
Wow.
Yeah. See the opportunity, grab it, and do it. And this is the most important thing. Do it. If you don't do it, if you talk about it, if you grow plants, that's all nice. That's all good. That's perfect. But as long as you're not doing, there will be no change. There will be no success, because the route to success is doing, not listening, not seeing, not planning. It's doing. And
that's a very good point, Florian. And that brings me to my last question. Coming from listening to doing, what can people from my audience do if they want to connect with you? Or, are you offering a book or a course or a seminar, or how can they come into the deep meanings of storytelling?
Nice question. Yes. First of all, everybody can connect to me, and well, we can chat a lot about things, questions. It's. I always offer, if you have a question, let me know. Type me a message, and connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's the way where I'm most of the times at the day. And then I'm offering, well, first of all, storytelling workshops, but I'm actually working on a storytelling mentoring program, which I offer in English and in German as well, where companies can join, or where people can come in having questions about storytelling, where we build the stories and where we transform the stories to the different channels over a period of time. So it's not like, okay, you have one event and now everything has to be perfect and implemented to your website or to your social media profile. No, you have the possibilities in this mentoring program to grow your story over a time period, implement it, and gaining feedback. And I think this is the most important thing: gaining feedback, communicate with other people, exchange opinions. And therefore, I'm first of all, I am available, but also the other parts of this mentoring program are available with experiences, feedback, and the higher the number of participants is, the higher the feedback, and the higher the expertism of this group will be. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also starting that in English. I'm just doing that in German right now, but will come up in English, as I'm, as you know, always internationally aimed. And we will see. We will see. This storytelling, in a lot of brands is already standard. I was in the United States in February, and I talked to somebody at the flea market. Yeah. And she built. She it was a young lady, and she sold her own coffee. And as you know, I'm a coffee addict. So we talked about storytelling, and she said, with storytelling, this is nothing we have to talk about. Storytelling is just there. It's done by I wouldn't say nature, but I would say it's done natively. Yeah. And Europe is still lacking a little bit behind, and upcoming brands like startups or young entrepreneurs, they are probably not aware of the fact and of the power of storytelling. And this is why I'm offering these mentoring, not only to have one workshop to say, okay, now your story is perfect. It's a growing process. It's a change. It's an opportunity, and grab the opportunity.
It's a great thing, to taking people along the way and lowering the entry barriers, for them to making their own mistakes, and helping them to coming from listening to
Absolutely, yeah.
implementation.
Yeah.
Obviously, we will have a link to your homepage in the show notes. And
Yes.
thank you for being my guest today, Florian. Very inspiring, as always.
It was a
And
pleasure.
I'm very sure, that you will have a good audience and people will be very happy with your services. So thank you. And to the audience, I will be next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian, for having me.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Florian.
Bye.